he's not just riding the AI wave, he's building it. It's Mr. Greg Jameson, and Greg Jameson has crafted custom AI tools that power real e-commerce results. He helps businesses from Fortune 500s to everyday entrepreneurs generate real customers, not just clicks. You're about to hear how AI meets strategy on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank. We're sponsored by dfypodcast.com. We remove the tech barriers so you can focus on real conversations. And the real conversation we're about to have today is with Mr. Jameson from gregjameson.com. And he's built AI tools tailored for e-commerce, real estate, and even authors. We're going to find out how to navigate this crazy world we suddenly find ourselves thrust into, ethical AI overwhelm, so much more. So, Mr. Greg, great to see you.
It is great to be here, Robert. And as you know, we've run in the same circles for years, and I'm super excited to actually be able to have this conversation with you.
Right. So many decades in the making. I don't even know where I know you from or where I first heard of you. Maybe the Warrior Forum and the Web Stores Ltd. It gives me the nostalgic feels. I don't know where from, but I mean, do you know, or like what kind of early internet marketing fun memories do you have of us?
Well, the first time I remember being in the room with you was at JV Alert, which however long ago that was, a decade or more. But yeah, we were just talking before we got on the air here about some of our colleagues on the cover of a book that you had, and how they look so much younger then.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes you appreciate the current state that you're in, right? Like we look back 20 years ago and man, we were so much younger, but imagine how we'll feel 20 years from now. And in like science fiction, they talk about the butterfly effect, right? There's the worry of if you go back in time and you make one small change and then you go back to the present and everything's wacky and everything's changed, but the present moment we're in, we might make one little change and that ripples ahead to our own future. So it's spooky to think about, right? That what we do now in the moment matters and we'll never get this time again. So speaking of that, what are you up to? What's your current focus and passion? What has you excited to talk about today?
Well, obviously AI, and specifically, I guess, how we can really be utilizing AI to scale ourselves rather than, so many people out there worried about AI is going to take my job, and AI is creating this doomsday effect. And I've got a total opposite mindset. Rather than having those limiting beliefs, I like to think in terms of abundance, and AI can really help us amplify ourselves and get to where we are, like I said, really scaling ourselves.
Well, exciting. Well, let's get to it because I'm curious about how we can scale ourselves and replicate ourselves. And the way you describe it, there's a thing called the blue ocean strategy, which pretty much says, well, there's like new things, there's new like not low competition areas to explore. And they say, well, you should look at what you're doing and imagine what someone else would do to you to put you out of business. So say you're a freelance writer and you're worried about AI, well, then learn AI writing and put yourself out of business. And then now if someone's worried about their job being killed, well, yes, it will be killed by you, right? And what new skill set, new evolution you get on. And so as far as this relates to you, this idea of like an AI replica, like what's that all about? How does that work?
Okay, so let me back up and tell you kind of where it started. I created this AI tool that did speech evaluations. And the idea was that somebody would take a video of themselves doing a public speech, and they would upload it into this AI tool, and it would come back and say things like, "You're using too many filler words. I think you need to use more gestures and more vocal variety. Here's the things that you did really good in the speech. Here's some things that you could improve upon." Well, I was showing this off at a presentation that I was doing, and one of the people in the audience came up afterwards and said, "Could you do that for a baseball coach?" And I was like, "I don't see why not. We just did it for doing speech evaluations. What we would need to do that from you is all of the background materials that you have. I happen to know this guy had written a book about coaching baseball and he's done a number of videos and so forth. I'm like, we'll just train the AI on that material so that rather than it being like a generic baseball coach, it will be you as the baseball coach for your players. And obviously, he got all excited, and was so we're working on that particular application right now. But it really goes much broader than that. It could be any sport. When I talked to somebody else about that, they said, "Could you do it for being a sales coach?" And obviously, same type of thing. Now we can have it be not just a generic sales coach, but somebody that is, have the AI trained on a specific style and person so that the output that comes from it appears to be coming directly from that person.
Well, this is a fascinating subject that when you're looking for the AI to perform a skill, don't just start from scratch. Say, hey, here's someone that does it really well. And you're giving me flashbacks to a few years ago, ChatGPT came out and they said, write such and such in the style of Robin Williams, right? Write such and such in the style of Tony Robbins. And they said, don't just give it a blank slate. Tell it like who it's like. And I think I saw something where they were inventing robots to like cook, like to like, flip a frying pan and do stirring. And they were like having actual like world famous chefs like do all the movements and record them so that way they weren't just starting from scratch. So similar idea, right? You say, well, I figured out something that the AI does and I can repurpose it, but I just use someone's existing personalities and output and then look at what they're doing right, which a lot of it might be just by happenstance, by accident, trial and error, and we get more of that. And what makes this a lot of fun is that we're all looking to use AI for things like writing, especially, right? And like, I know that you're a prolific blogger. And so instead of saying, okay, well, hey, AI, I want you to write me this and that, you say, hey, let me feed it everything I've created. And you tell me what you see about my style and my content and just make more of what I have become.
Yeah, and that actually, depending upon the AI engine that you're using, that actually works really well. I have uploaded 20 years worth of blog posts and 20 books into ChatGPT and said, this is the way I write. These are the things I write about. So now when I want to create new content, it already knows my writing style. It already knows everything that I know. So it makes it fairly easy to create new content based upon AI. And as everybody knows, it's a whole lot faster to do it that way.
Oh yeah, and we were talking at before we recorded that like, well, it's you loaded all sorts of stuff and you have it output something new, and you don't have to just take the output at face value. You can say, hey, try again, keep working on it, adjust it differently, or even edit it manually yourself. And I'm curious about like your strategy and how you navigate it because it sounds simple enough, right? Upload all your writing to ChatGPT, but there's that pesky context window, right? If you upload like too much stuff or too big of stuff, then it seems to not like pay very close attention, or it tells you to like upload in batches and then like make an index. Do you consider any of that? Like if you have like just so much tons of content, do you have to like do things in multiple steps just to make sure it gets it all?
Frequently, you have to do things in multiple steps. The whole process of iterative prompting basically gives you better results in the end. But there's a couple of things that you can do. One, pay the $20 a month and get ChatGPT Pro because then you can create custom GPTs. And with custom GPTs, you can train that GPT on your material, and that makes it a whole lot easier. I've got actually hundreds of custom GPTs that I now use depending upon what I'm trying to do. But OpenAI actually has another feature which is costs additional money, which is fine. That I utilized this virtual coaching program that we were talking about uh, on, and that is called OpenAI Assistance. And it's much like a custom GPT on steroids. And you can just continue to feed in videos and PDF files and whatever other documentation you've got so that it can utilize that as background information. And obviously, the really cool thing about AI is now it's got all this information that you've trained it on, but it's also got all the information from all of humankind forever and ever because it's downloaded the entire internet. So if I now want to say, hey, I want to talk about this and I may not know that much about it, well, the AI does, so it can go out and grab that additional information too and still make it come back and sound like I'm the one that wrote it.
Oh yeah, because you iteratively prompted it, and it's great to have the sort of education, right, about what's possible. Because I know, like the first couple of weeks that ChatGPT existed, I kept hearing about how like it broke all kinds of records. And I was like, oh, I'll check it out later. And then someone said, use ChatGPT and tell it your favorite TV show and have it like create a new episode of Three's Company or Star Trek. And then it was like so much fun to get the output, and then I could say, well, change this, change that, and it did. And I was like, hey, like just by playing with it and using it, I was like, I came alive with that. And so, have you found anything similar, like for example, like the custom GBT thing? Someone said, well, feed it like your favorite email copy, and then whenever you wanted to just generate an email for your autoresponder, it makes it. So as far as like the fun you've been having and getting yourself to like use it, even like for play or for like a practical use, have you had any kind of breakthroughs like that? Were you like resisting using some AI tool and you're like, hey, if I use it for this sort of homework assignment, now I'm making use of it?
Well, I've never had an issue of experimenting with AI because, quite honestly, I've been playing with AI tools since the mid 1980s. I had a situation that put me in a unique situation. Basically, my father was a research professor at Colorado State, and he brought home a portable teletype machine when I was a kid. So I got to start playing with home computing like a decade before anybody else had PCs. And the propeller that you see on top of my head is permanently attached now. So I've always liked to play with it, but I think that that's really the key to being effective with AI is to just go out there and play with it and experiment with it, see if you can break it, see if you can do things that it's not supposed to do. And it might be creating a new episode of Three's Company. Uh, it might be telling it to do things that, uh, you know, might borderline on the unethical if you're going to use it commercially because you're saying things like create an image of Mickey Mouse with me sitting on his lap or whatever. That's fine and fun for you to go out there and experiment with things, but obviously you don't want to be putting that out there for the public because now you're infringing upon somebody's copyright. But yeah, the big thing is play with it and have fun. That's really how you learn.
I like it. Play with it, have fun, see what you can break. And I just use it so much lately, going back and forth. If I'm designing a book cover, and I know you have fun with your own book covers, I'll like feed it the whole book, and I'm like, hey, what do you like? Give me a book cover, and then I'll like use the screenshot tool, and I'll be like, hey, here's 3 book covers, make it similar, and then I'll say like change this, change that, and then get like a pretty good mock-up that I can then like recreate in something like Photoshop or Canva, but just kind of like the experimenting days are back, right? And I can definitely relate to being a kid and back when like early internet or pre-internet days of like installing shareware and playing around with text to voice and all your Windows settings. And then it seems like maybe 2006 or so, we lost that, right? It became more about the web and RSS feeds and social media. And then the experimenting changed. But then now that AI is here, it's like the geek factor is back, isn't it? The programming, and it's a lot more rewarding because you're not always having to write straight code. And like, man, when you write regular code, like sometimes you spend hours just on one little thing, and with AI, you just it can fill in the gaps for you.
That's
But then, as you've been saying, like sometimes things go wrong. So, do you have any fun story about like a mishap, an accident, one of these times where you really did break something with AI?
Well, yeah, as we're talking about the coding, it, as you know, because you've written code too, is that a lot of these AI tools do a really good job of writing code anymore. So you can, the whole process is called vibe coding, and you can go out there
Yeah.
and you can just describe what it is that you want, and it'll produce the code for you. And does it work the first time? Typically not. Uh, it'll get close, but it's kind of like anything else. You use this iterative prompting and you say, okay, well, now it's doing this, and let's change it so that it can also do this type thing. And you can write a fairly complex program with it anymore. But AI still isn't perfect. And yeah, you can absolutely break things. I've been, sometimes writing code with AI, and I get to like where I think it's almost there, and I say, just change this one more thing. And now all of a sudden it breaks everything. And you're just like, oh no, because I forgot to make a backup of the one that was working.
Of course.
But the same problems we've had with tech for years, but sometimes we have to relearn those lessons.
Yeah, and sometimes the hard way that the AI, even though it seems sentient, it's not quite sentient, and you have to still use your brain. And if it gives you code and you're like, well, it worked last iteration, but not this one, or I don't know what that gives me. It doesn't look quite right, or like, do all kinds of debugging, and it can help you with that, right? It seems like if you're stuck about anything AI wise, like I know we're talking in vague generalities because it's a podcast and we're not showing code, but if someone's listening and they're saying, well, how do I vibe code with AI? You can just ask it, right? You can say, well, I want to make this, and what do you recommend for the tool and the approach? And so if someone is excited about the possibilities of AI, but they're not even sure like what to do, where to start, they're overwhelmed, what advice would you give to like an AI beginner or newcomer, or someone who just like doesn't have the skills but wants more?
The biggest thing, as we've already talked about, is to play with things, but there are so many AI tools out there now. Everybody by default, I think, starts with Chat GPT just because they're the ones that made all the big headlines back in 2022 and have kind of become the default. But there's lots of other really good tools out there, and specialty tools in particular are a lot of fun. If you want to create music, try out like Suno or Udio. If you want to make videos, uh, one of the best video makers that I've seen a text to video is Kling.ai. It comes out of
Oh yeah.
China, but you can create some really fun videos with it. So look at specialty tools. If you are even trying to do things with graphic design or whatever, Canva has got a lot of AI tools built into it now. Certainly, ChatGPT has come really far when it comes to image generation, but tools out there like Midjourney are still a lot of fun to play with and can create some insane images. So try try them all.
Yeah, try them all, and use ChatGPT to tell you what to try. And it's good just to even have this awareness, because I think a lot of people don't know that a lot, like we've all seen like the AI voices, but AI music, or like I was using Kling last week, and it's fun to, well, it's a little creepy to take photos of like dead relatives or yourself as a kid and just give it the image and say, hey, have this person waving or give a thumbs up or jump in the air, and it like brings the person to life. So it's just, what an amazing time to be alive. And so there's these AI tools that are out there, but there's also what you created, right? Like you're a prolific guy. You have blog posts, you have books, you have websites, you have apps. So what do you have as far as if someone says, man, this guy, Greg Jameson, he's dialed in on AI. I want more from him. What do you have to offer?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is I've got a series of tools that are available on my website, and a couple of other websites where I've done this as well, where you can even go out and you can try some of these tools for free. But if you just go to gregjameson.com under the membership area, there's a thing that says tools, and you can uh, get a free trial of some of the tools there. The thing that I am most excited about right now is what we were talking about earlier, my Analyze to Win program, where you can basically create a virtual coach of yourself so that you can really scale yourself now. It's you don't have to be everywhere all at once. You have a digital video clone of yourself actually coaching your customers on whatever it is that you coach people on. And now you can be in thousands of places at one time. So, like you said, this is an amazing time to be alive. It is so much fun. And people that are afraid of AI, uh, try to look at it from an abundance mindset, because you can have a lot of fun with this. And it really will help you in your business. And I think even in your personal life, to just go out there and start being more creative.
Oh yeah, 100% agreed. And it's a tool that can be used or misused, and it's people have used it for like therapy purposes, right? For accounting, for legal advice, and it's like, well, you don't just blindly do what it says, but if you're having a down day or you have a personal problem, you can have a whole conversation with it and get some things solved. And so, and I think, the way that you describe it about experimenting and having fun with AI, like you and I we've been saying, we're a couple of internet marketers, right? We've been around for decades. And as part of that entrepreneurial journey, you always have the naysayers, right? You have the friends and family and frenemies who say, oh, you shouldn't start your own business. And it's like there's similar parallels to AI, right? I'm sure you've dealt with that in the past, Greg, right? There's someone who doesn't even take the risk of running their own business, trying to shoot down your ideas. And same thing with AI. Well, if someone is poo-pooing on AI or saying, oh, I don't use that, but they don't even know what they're talking about, right? Versus if you find an AI enthusiast and they can find one like you have social media, you have YouTube, who's very encouraging and just excited about all these possibilities with AI. It's like the everything old is new again, right? And it's what you make of it. And so this website that you mentioned is gregjameson.com, where there are these resources where you can find out how to turn your ideas into income by using AI to simplify success and scale what works. And you're giving me flashbacks, Mr. Greg, to remember Ryan Dice?
I
Remember
do.
him?
Yeah.
And he had this concept of like coming down from the mountaintop, and people said like, well, but back when info products were new, and people were like, well, should you replace yourself with just a video of yourself? And you're saying, well, people can buy the video, but then when you choose to like have the big ticket coaching, or you have a membership, and sometimes you have like an assistant employee teach stuff, and then when the big boss shows up, then you can make your presence. And similar with AI, right? You can have the AI kind of do the marketing, the social post, all that. But then when it comes time for the real person to show up, then that can be you. And especially with this tool that you have for us called Analyze to Win, and that's gregjameson.com/analyze2win. Your brain, your brand, your AI coach now scaled to infinity. And how the way it works is you upload your videos, notes, rubrics, and feedback styles. It's all fed into the system, and the AI learns to think, speak, and coach like you. They build a branded platform. Your users upload their video, sales call, speech, pitch, swing, or drill, and then the AI evaluation happens automatically. And then users can see you or your AI clone speaking directly to them, powered by advanced video synthesis. And so, are you saying that those examples you mentioned earlier about how it can be like a baseball coach, a speaking coach, a sales coach, does that all apply here? Like if someone said, hey, I'm a baseball coach, could they sign up and get all that established using Analyze to Win?
They can. That's the whole idea. And yeah, it could really be any kind of coach at all, any business niche, any sport. It doesn't have to be baseball. Obviously, I'm an avid skier. I haven't created the skiing coach yet, but uh, I've it's certainly doable. I've had people ask me about both tennis and golf, and obviously
Mhm.
those things are entirely doable. Just need to be able to train the system on it.
Very amazing. And it makes you wonder, when will we have an AI invented sport, right? We have things like baseball, basketball, tennis, and AI is all about feeding in what works and then it outputs something. You have to wonder if it's only a matter of time before you feed in AI baseball, soccer, lacrosse, badminton, and you say, take all the best parts and come up with something that's even more popular. You have to wonder if like it's only a matter of time before there's an AI generated sport.
That would be interesting. And you were talking earlier about humanoid robots looking at videos or just watching somebody perform a task like slicing up a potato or whatever, and they learn from doing that. So now they can go and they can not only slice a potato, they can go slice a carrot or whatever too, because they've already learned to do that. It will be really interesting to see how AI takes the very best of certain sports maybe and combines them and comes up with something entirely new.
Yeah. And you think about
Like,
like the Boston, what's that?
like we were saying, it's the best time to be alive. There's
Yeah.
so many cool things happening.
Right, and there's Boston Dynamics, right? They have the robot dogs and the humanoids, and you think, okay, well, I'm sure they'll guaranteed be like robot soldiers, but robot dancers or athletes competing against humans. It's such a bizarre time that we're in store for, but I'm excited for it. I'm enthusiastic about it. And as far as what you're excited for about the future of AI and technology, is there anything in particular that maybe you're working on or theorizing about, or that you're just seeing other people do about just the future of AI that you think we should pay close attention to?
I think the single biggest thing that people need to realize about AI in its current form is that it's an amplifier. And so if you are mediocre at what you do, AI is going to make you mediocre faster. If you're really good at what you do, AI is going to make you unstoppable. So that's really the message, I guess, that I like to leave people with is not only what we talked about having fun and experimenting, but realize that AI is an amplifier, and that's really what's going to happen going forward. Yeah, we're going to have these robots that can do the things that humans have done, but what that does is that frees us up to do more things that robots can't do. Uh,
Yes.
we're going to stop being human doings and start being human beings again. So it, it's a lot of fun.
I like that. That's beautiful. And so we owe it to ourselves to up our game, increase our skill, and be our best, and use AI as that amplifier. And the place we told you to go was gregjameson.com/analyze number two win. And you can see a demo right there on the page giving an example of a speech evaluation given directly by the digital clone of Mr. Greg Jameson. So if you say, well, what does that look like? gregjameson.com/analyze to win, and you can find out all about that amazing concept of a replicator coach and so much more. So while people are going there, Mr. Greg, gregjameson.com/analyze to win, it's time for the scary part of the show where I try to stump you, I try to put you on the spot by asking you about a fun quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind for a fun quote or lesson?
The quote that I actually really like is that if you are fearful of AI, then it's going to basically scare you. But if you are excited about AI, then it's going to really allow you to do things that you previously thought you couldn't do. I don't remember the exact wording of the quote, but that's the general concept of it. And that's kind of what I like to live by is being in awe of what we're accomplishing here.
Yeah, I like it. The choice is yours to be fearful or excited, and you should choose to be excited. So check that out. It's Analyze to Win. You can stop trading time for money. Your clients get coaching that feels authentic because it is. Your brand becomes the go-to authority in your niche, and your business finally scales without burning you out. It's a virtual version of you, always on, always delivering, always growing your brand. Man, Mr. Greg Jameson, it's been such a blast. I'm so excited about just the way that the fun is back and the future possibilities of AI. So thanks for being here. Thanks for bringing your A game and helping us out. Really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you, Robert.